referendum does not give me all of the same protections and privileges as these gentlemen and their wives and their families. It does not make me married. But it makes my family almost equal, as long as we stay in Washington. If we go on vacation or move away from our beautiful state, to Idaho, for example, these protections vanish. When Mr. Backholm and Mr. Stubel take a trip to Idaho, they are still married. If one of their wives falls ill, they are guaranteed the right to be with them in the hospital. Not John or me, and not Alta and Ava. When we go to Idaho, our protections vanish. That's because this law is about domestic partnership. Idaho does not recognize our protections or our almost equal family. It's important to understand what the law does and doesn't do. It does not provide the protections of marriage. In fact, it specifically says domestic partnerships is not marriage. If we were talking about marriage, it would be interesting to note that in Massachusetts, since same-sex marriage has become legal, the divorce rate is the lowest in decades. But we're not talking about marriage. Referendum 71 doesn't deal with marriage. It deals with domestic partnership.
And Alta?
I'm Alta Walkamp. I'm here today to view my views on Referendum 71 because I would like to preserve our rights with me and my partner of 20 years. That's it.
And Roger?
Hello, I'm Roger Winters. I'm one of the co-founders and former president of a group called the Legal Marriage Alliance of Washington. We formed that group in 1995 because marriage equality was becoming an issue in the United States because people were seeking equal rights under the law. And that's an important consideration, is that we're really talking about equality under the law. And the legislature of the state of Washington established domestic partnership, specifically defining it as not legal marriage, which it still reserves for opposite-sex couples only, a couple of years ago, with some of the, I think we said, counted 468 laws in the state of Washington that relate to marital status. So some of those protections, things like hospital visitation, inheritance, and so forth, very important things, were given to same-sex couples who would register with the Secretary of State at that time. In the next year, additional provisions of the law were extended to same-sex couples. And this last year, through the measure which is we're now asking you to approve, was passed by the legislature with due consideration, hearings, input from their constituents, and it brought everything but marriage for the benefit of same-sex couples who are registered domestic partners in our state. So those couples, if we approve Referendum 71 this year during the election, will give those couples the same kinds of legal protections, so long as they're within the state of Washington's boundaries, that are enjoyed by other couples. Legal marriage or legal domestic partnership are relationships between two adults and that choose one another to move through the path of their lives together. We urge that the citizens of our state uphold the notion of legal equality because we're in a country where we are not under a particular religion. We are free to practice our diverse opinions and beliefs. I commend to those listening to this program and watching this program that you look at approvereferendum71.org on the internet as a source of good information on the subject if you'd like to study it further. Thank you very much.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to our forum. Today's program is not a debate, as this issue that we're going to be covering today in this special presentation of our forum It's not a debatable issue, but rather it's an idea that we all get together in one place at the same time to be able to address concerns, ask questions of each other, and of course questions that are already on the script for today's program. So once again, welcome everybody and thank you for your opening statement. The first question today is going to be for Mr. Struble and followed up by Mr. Winters. The question is, and of course you have 2 minutes for each side to answer and then to respond. What is Referendum 71?
Referendum 71 is a measure on the ballot this November, which is there because Protect Marriage Washington organized a petition drive to put it on the ballot. Our rationale there was that since in every state where this basic issue of same-sex marriage or its equivalency has come up for a vote, the people have preferred traditional marriage. One of the principles in the Declaration of Independence is that the consent of the governed is essential to a genuine republic or democracy. And therefore, this is the opportunity for the people to give or deny their consent to this radical measure of redesigning what we understand by marriage.
The legislature passed a bill that, as I said, brought the remainder of state statutes relating to marriage for the benefit of same-sex couples who are registered domestic partners. It still maintains the basic inequality of different names for the relationship, different ways of entering into them. You do not go to the Secretary of State to be married, but you go there to become registered domestic partners. So there are real differences yet in the law. Should there be a further measure before the state legislature to bring this all but marriage situation to a level of equality, they would be asked to enact legal marriage for all citizens. That is, to give all citizens who want to enter the adult relationship with a person of their choice the ability to do so under the legal marriage, the terms of legal marriage. Now, marriage has many other meanings, and I think that's important to keep in mind. It has social meanings, it has religious meanings that vary with different beliefs and faiths. In fact, marriage differs among the various states of the Union, and because it is up to the states to define these legal relationships. These are legal relationships that, again, are reflective of individual choices of citizens of our state. The referendum asks that people review and decide whether the legislature was correct in enacting the law that brought the remaining benefits to domestic partners. That is the question, and we're urging that you approve the action of the legislature who gave due consideration to this matter, held hearings, did so publicly, and with full opportunity for all of us in the state to give our opinions to our legislators, as is the way in which we do enact laws. And so we're asking that you approve Referendum 71 when you go to the when you cast your vote this fall.
Can I respond briefly?
Very briefly.
Now, Roger indicates, I think somewhat misleadingly, that what this is all about is not marriage, it's about civil unions, and that if the legislature should entertain the matter, that would be quite a different question. In fact, the whole history of this movement has been one of avoiding the will of the people wherever it's come to a test, as for example last year in 2008 in California, in Arizona, and in Florida, the people overwhelmingly endorsed traditional marriage over same-sex marriage. And so the strategy throughout this the last several years of this history has been to find